Good morning. I'm excited to be here this morning. I wanted to talk to you. Well, first of all, remember that this is pre zone awareness, meaning that I'm streaming to you Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to really help get into your mind and get into your heart and into your soul and into your business to have you rethink the way that you're doing things so that you can escalate your business and the freedom that you want much quicker. So I'll be really honest with you. There's not a ton of strategies that I've done inside my business that have actually worked. I mean, it's funny because it's like somebody successful will create a podcast and then everybody will be like, oh, that's the thing that I need to do to become successful is to have a great podcast. And the truth is that you really need to build your business around your desires about what you actually see yourself doing long term. You need to look at what you're fearful of and run straight towards that because typically the strategies that you're most fearful of are the ones that actually expand your business the most. And what I've realized is over the years of coaching, um, oh gosh, I haven't added it up for about a year, but I know that I'm over 4,000 people that I've coached at this point. And a lot of them I have been quite intimate with. I know that sounds crazy, but over 8 years, we've accomplished a lot. And over these 8 years, I can tell you that, when I started my coaching business, I thought, I guess, full transparency, I thought that um, I needed to know it all. I needed to, be the authority on something. And sometimes I would coach people and I would say things that honestly, like that I didn't even know I knew what I was talking about as far as the strategy. I've always been very honest with that stuff, but I didn't really know the person, or like I didn't know enough about human behavior yet to be able to say that this strategy is going to work for you. And so the reason why I share this with you is because first of all, I don't care who you coach with. You first have to dig down deep inside and say, what do you want your life to look like? So one of my clients yesterday asked me, she's building out a sales center inside of her company, which I love, and she's going to bring on this outside sales company for a short period of time until she finds somebody she can employ inside of her company to grow it. Now, this is a woman that 3 years ago was making basically $115,000 a year, and now she's cracking a million. And I'd say she's very coachable. She's also done our leadership work, so she's very coachable. But with that being said, she asked me yesterday, so what is like the industry standard for if I hire a salesperson or a sales company to come in to sell for me? What is the industry standard as far as like what I should expect from them? And I said, do not base any of your goals inside your business around industry standard. The industry standard for coaches is broke, and she's a coach, by the way. She was a massage therapist and is a holistic coach. And I was like, most coaches are broke. I mean, when you look in the hardcore community, you'd be blown away with how many people inside of a year to 3 years crush it. And I don't know, I always think it's a 3 year plan minimum because you can't get everything you need out of 1 year. It just is what it is. And so when I look at it, I'm like, don't base your like don't look at somebody in your industry even that you look up to and think like, oh, I have to price myself based on what they're pricing. Like, who am I to price more? It's like, it's your life. Like, if you're going to be giving your time and your energy, what makes you happy? What makes you happy on the financial amount that you actually get back from that? Secondly, I mean, you cannot build a business around just formulas. You have to ask yourself, what do you want your overall life to look like? So, I this was a vision for me to like be here on the coast of San Diego when I lived in Las Vegas and had no money. And then, I won't even get into that whole story because it's irrelevant. But my point is that my vision was to live here on the coast. So when I met my husband and he wanted to live in Corona del Mar, even though that's only an hour away, I knew I didn't want that. I tried Laguna Beach. I did not like Laguna Beach. And so when we first started dating, and the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because you have to make hard decisions and you want to make them quicker than later. The longer you stay vested in an idea, typically the more attached you get. So when it comes to my beautiful husband, which I am so glad that it worked out, I literally said to him on the first date, I totally digged him. And um and I said to him, I'm not going to move from San Diego, so cuz this is part of my vision. There's parts of my vision that are negotiable and there's other parts that are non-negotiable. And so, you have to look at what's negotiable and non-negotiable, and we all get to stop judging each other for what each of our visions are. Do you hear what I'm saying? We I don't This kind of goes back to when I first started coaching. I don't know if I judged people, but I mean, I probably did. I probably judged their decisions and why they were making their decisions. And I would try and overpower their decisions because I cared so much about them succeeding. Anybody else out there like that? You care so much about people that it's like you'll just you'll go to the end of the line for them, and you'll just battle any demon to help them be successful. Well, that's how I am, and that's how I was. But I've since learned that you and I all have an individual path. And I don't want to be esoteric on you, but we have this life. And who's to say that anybody has the right to tell you how to live your life or how you should do it? You have to get very clear about that. Even when it comes to love, relationships, business, fitness, what you eat. There was a point in my life that I hated fermented food. I eat fermented food all the time now because it is a priority for me to have good gut health. I now love fermented food, but I fell in love with it after going through a stretch of hating it because I wanted to be healthy more than I wanted to eat chocolate. I still eat chocolate, but eat, you know what I mean? Eat stuff that didn't necessarily fuel me. And so with my husband, I know I'm jumping all over the place here, but what I'm actually doing is open loops. They're called open loops. I'm opening up loops, and because I know where I'm going, I come back and I close the loops. And what that does with the human mind is it allows the human mind to actually track and stay connected and interested. Have you ever watched a Facebook Live or, went to an event and you're just kind of like, all of a sudden you find yourself zoning out and you're like, holy cow, I'm tired now. Well, that's a sign that you're not engaged. If you actually feel tired, it's actually a sign that you're not engaged. And so I've been exhausted and literally been fired up about something that I'm working towards. And so, my point in sharing that with you is that I just wanted you to see what I was doing because I want you to learn how to do these things. Because first just figuring out what you want to sell, and then knowing how to position it, and then figuring out how to never worry about like I want you to never ever question where you're going to get a client or a buyer ever again. Figuring that piece out, then you need to figure out how to really have people in reoccurring and renewal. That's how you create wealth. You don't create wealth off a 6-week program or an information product or just selling a piece of clothing like a sweater once. You need reoccurring, you need brand loyalty, and you need reoccurring. And so all these things need to be put into account. And I will teach more of this at the zone event, and I'll keep drilling down on it. These are just short little, I shouldn't call them little, they're short, empowering Facebook Lives in this group to get you just really thinking differently so that you know how to do these things, and they take practice. So anyway, so going back to my husband, I knew that I wasn't going to live in Corona Del Mar. So right off the bat, we had that conversation. He said, I'm open to living in San Diego. Then what happened is he wasn't open to living in San Diego. And so now I had another hard decision. The first hard decision was, do I keep dating this guy that I really dig, but it's out of alignment with my vision? Like, am I being inflexible? And all these questions you got to ask yourself, which is why I'm strongly suggest that you figure out what your non-negotiables are in your life. It's also non-negotiable for me to spend time abroad. I like to spend at least a month, if not two, in Barbados or Europe, or we're actually planning a trip to Spain right now. For next year, we're going to be in the Maldives for 10 days, really right after zone event, a couple months after zone event. And so I have to be it's part of my vision to travel. So if I was with a man or I had a business that I could not travel, that would make me miserable. And so you'll see that all of my strategies and the way that I think are to create the most amount of freedom so that you can design and choose what type of life you want to live. Now, I will say that it's so important to hold the vision that you want, even when things look bleak. So, my husband, at one point, we went to Cherry Norris, who is an amazing love coach. And we've sent so many clients to Cherry that Cherry actually did a free VIP day with us. So, that's the power of leading with generosity again. I never expected Cherry to do free anything for me, but she did a free VIP day with me in the most important time, which was when we weren't married yet, but when Ash, who is now my husband, was like, both of us were like, this probably isn't going to work, and we already had a baby. And so we sat with Cherry, and Cherry worked with us. And then Ash stepped up to the plate and said, I'll move to San Diego. And now he loves San Diego. And he honestly does not have the same connection with Corona Del Mar. He actually sees a lot of the things that I saw before, which I didn't love about Laguna Beach. San Diego is very easy to get to know people. There's a lot of entrepreneurs here. It's not stuffy. Nobody's like driving around in Ferraris for the most part. Not that there's anything issue. There's no issue with Ferraris. My husband actually, I think, wants one, but there's no issue with Ferraris. It's about an energy. And Laguna Beach has more of a I love going there for dinner and for a night out and dress up, but it's more, it's just more uppity, and it's more like, you know, it's just more uppity. And you see me. This is what I look like today behind closed doors, and my hair's in a bun because I'm going to go to Orange Theory at noon, and so I'm not going to go and put on my stilettos and curl my hair all out to do a Facebook Live with you because I'm San Diego. I'm not Laguna Beach. Does that make sense? Um, so you have to really know yourself and know what's important to you, and then you need to build your business and your lifestyle around it. And I will honestly tell you, there are many moments of dropping to your knees. One of my employees, Trisha, she's amazing, said to me, how do you work through, like, you have this grace when things are hard? And I said, because I feel my emotions. If I have to drop to my knees and I'm walking down the street and cry, I will do that because I'm really okay at this point. I'm really okay with leading my life to make sure, and I want you to start doing this stuff where I'm okay if somebody thinks I look crazy, and I already know that there's people who don't like me, and I already know that there's people that absolutely love and adore and cherish me and are grateful for my honesty and my ability to put myself out there to help you succeed. So there's all cuts of life. So if I live my life and you live your life trying to fit into pleasing other people, or not embarrassing yourself, you're never going to hit the ultimate 1% that you want to hit. If you want to hit 1%, which I recommend everybody go for, at least here's how you know you can hit a 1%. You have a burning, you have a drive inside you. And if you have this, comment in the comment section and say, I have that burn. You have a burn inside you that you've never been able to quit going after it. Like, you just are somehow relentlessly going after it. Everything you do, you relentlessly go after. People probably think you're kind of tough on yourself, or people probably also think you should chill out a little bit. That is a burning desire. Never shut that burning desire down. I'm just going to show you how to drive from a healthy place so that you have a relaxed energy. So when Trisha asked me how I go through it, I drop to the ground in the middle of the street and I will cry it out if I need to cry it out. I will get mad. I will be like, excuse my language, but fuck, what the fuck is this person think? Like, I will do that expression. And then immediately after I release the energy, because everything is energy, they're sawing down the street. I mean, now you'll definitely notice it. Immediately after I release that energy, I can regain my leadership. So I don't go off the hook and freak out. I don't, I don't yell and scream and throw things. I don't do any of that. But I have led myself like, I lead myself in a way now that I have, I wouldn't say it's control, but it's managing my emotions along with releasing them. So you're going to make these hard decisions if you want to become part of the 1%. If you feel that burning desire, then you're part of the 1%, which means that that burning desire is never going to go away. So do you want to be 80 years old feeling like you can't get out of a cage because you didn't unleash? Like, you've got to unleash. So first case is when you walk into the zone event, you better know, what do you want your life to look like? What do you want it to look like? Do you want to travel for a couple months out of the year? Do you want to live like I have? We, as Ash and I, have a 3 year old. We are prepared. We are prepared because we live our life through vision. Now, my husband was not on board with this stuff before, but he leads the charge now. We are on board to homeschool our child and travel. We are on board to live in San Diego. I was on board to be okay with my husband quitting his job and starting his own company in an industry I knew nothing about, so I couldn't really help him. So we are on board with each other's visions, and our visions line up now. My husband is on board with going to church now on Sundays. That's super important to me. And so, but when we started, he said, I don't want a Bible thumper wife. It's like, you just got to hold your vision. I never made my husband go to church. I never made him wrong for his decisions. And so, if you want to succeed, you got to unhook from the judgments and you got to be relentless about the vision you have. And you just keep repeating it. You'll see at the zone event, if there's somebody that I'm coaching, because I'll do hot seating and I'll pull people up on stage and I'll hot seat at the mic. And if I see somebody has a big vision and they're being righteous about something that's going to take them down a certain path, I will keep coming back to that vision I have for them to succeed, and I will be relentless on it, even if they don't like what I'm saying. And I will serve into them before I will ever serve in to having to be liked or even you buying from me. I mean, so many people position everything to be liked or to strategically align people into a buy. And honestly, you should coach with the coaches that you want their lifestyle. I have coached with a coach before that I did not want their lifestyle. And that is a problem because they're influencing your mind. So you need to coach with a coach that you like their lifestyle. You need to coach with a coach that triggers you a little bit. I mean, a little bit, meaning that trigger might look like um, it might look like you're fearful to do something and resistant. Like one of our clients, Carrie, didn't want to do this retreat. And so I was like, okay, but you got to do the retreat. So do the retreat and I'll back into your comfort zone a little bit and to give you a little bit more of their, she did like $60,000 she would never have done. She never would have done it. But that's not even the biggest gift. She's so lit up. It's insane. She's adding adventure into her health programs, and she's just lit up like a Christmas tree. And I mean, her voice memos to me are like, oh my gosh, where like often she's very like, you know what I mean? Like very like logical and, square a little bit. And she's like unleashed and just excited. Like that's the biggest gift, is to be that type, access that type of energy. So, your coach should trigger you a little bit, meaning that I'm sure that my client, Carrie, did not feel like the retreat was necessarily the right move for her. She felt like I was adding something to her plate. She felt like it was like a little overwhelming. She felt like she had never done this before. She felt like she didn't know what she would actually coach at this retreat. She had all those layers, but she's coachable. She's able to lead herself in a way to be coachable and do it anyway. And so she did it anyway through all of that. And as each wall went up, it was like all of a sudden she figured out her content and she fell more in love with her content than anything else I've seen her do. In 3 years of coaching her, I've never seen her this lit up about her content. So that wall went up and left. Then, she went to make the offer for it and she sold out like right away. So that fired her up. She was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I sold out like that. And then she did the retreat. She kept sending me pictures of the retreat because she was so moved by the retreat. I mean, that's what work should look like. We spend so much time working. That's what work should look like. You should be lit up. You should be like, holy cow, that result that I just created, that person I just stood for, that, you know what I mean? Like it all worked out and it feels good. So that wall went up. And now she's like, she almost created a whole nother Now she actually almost took the retreat and created another thing on her books. I was like, no, no, no. Remember why we created the retreat in the first place. It was to solve a very specific problem that she was having. And so realign that excitement, because we buy off feelings and we enroll ourselves off feelings. I realigned her to a strategy that's going to work for her lifestyle and not put another thing on her plate, but to actually unleash her to the freedom that she wants. So know what you want when you walk into the zone event. And I want you to be thinking about, what do you want your life to look like? What's ideal? And don't back into logic. If you're going to back into logic, honestly, you should go get a job, because logic, and in fact, even in this day and age, I mean, if you have a sales job, logic's not going to work. Like, you need to be unleashed in your vision, and logic has nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it. Logic says that I don't have enough money for something. Logic says that I don't have enough time for something. Entrepreneurship and success in general has everything to do with, I'm going to work the plan and be in commitment versus feeling. Being commitment versus feeling. All right, you guys. A couple of you guys asked me about the book that I recommend you read. This is the book, The Go Giver, and I recommend that you go read it. And as you're reading it, there's 5 laws in here, and it really is a leadership book. And the 5 laws in here, I recommend that you try them each time you learn a law. So you'll see that the man that's being coached in this book is given a law, and then immediately he's got to go apply it. I recommend you do this before you get to the zone event. I recommend that you read one chapter, do the law, and activate it in your life over the next 24 hours, then do the next law. I think that you'll be highly set up to win at the zone event if you do that. And now it's up to you. That's the cool thing about life. You get to choose. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Bye, you guys.